Hey there, listeners. Welcome back to Red Hunt, where I, Red, dive into the whirlwind of relationships through the captivating stories shared on the Reddit platform. So sit back, relax, and prepare for a roller coaster of emotions. I just found out I have a 35-year-old son. I received a notification through a genetic website last week from a member who had just taken the DNA test. The message started, "I know this is kind of weird," to which I can only say this is an understatement. I dated what I thought was the love of my life, and the only person I would ever or could ever love, in high school and a bit after, but the relationship ended badly. I desperately wanted to continue with the relationship, but she was done. She assured me that the baby was not mine, and in no way could be, but I have always wondered. Fast forward 35 years and I receive a message from my son that I never really knew about, as well as several grandchildren. A surreal and emotional experience that resulted in feelings of incredible guilt and sadness related to the loss of the long-term relationship, and what could have been if I had been allowed to be a part of his life. Don't get me wrong, I have built a wonderful life. Married for 30 years, 4 grown children, 2 grandchildren, and thriving career, and basically everything I've really wanted. I'm not sure why I have been so tearful and choked up the past week, because I know in my heart that this was not what I wanted at the time, and it was not my decision at all. I was not sure if I was going to respond, and instead spoke with my wife, who has been incredibly understanding, supportive, and encouraging, and suggested that this is a relationship that I probably need to explore, not only for me, but for the well-being of my long-lost son. So, I did respond and have spoken with him on the phone a couple of times, and I think we both want to explore the possibility of a relationship. But I also want to be sure I am not pressuring him in any way, and of course know that the relationship engagement to the level he and his wife are comfortable with. I also don't want this to harm the relationships he has with his siblings and mother. After all of this, I am so full of admiration for him having the strength and courage to reach out to me, but I just can't help the profound feelings of guilt for not being there for my son and sorrow for the 35 years that were lost. I cried on the phone with him several times, to the point we had to pause the conversation for a few minutes each time for me to regain my composure. Any suggestions on how I should proceed with building these new life-changing relationships, introducing 4 half-siblings, all while trying not to harm anything good in anyone's life that they already built? In short, I just found out I have a 35-year-old son I never knew about, and have had a tough and emotional week, and want to make sure I am available to him, but I also feel guilt, sorrow, and remorse, and don't want to harm anything positive going on in his life. Wow, what a crazy situation. It's great that you have the support of your wife and that you've started talking to your long-lost son. Just take it slow and communicate openly with him to make sure you're not pressuring him or causing any harm to his current relationships. Good luck with everything. My husband can't hold a job. My husband, 26, and I, 26, have been married for 2 years together for 11. We have a strong love for each other and work well as a team. However, I have ended up becoming the sole provider for our household. About 3 years ago, we both worked at the same retail job and had a decent situation. Although we didn't earn a lot of money, we managed to cover our bills and occasionally enjoy eating out. Eventually, we became frustrated with the retail company's lack of respect for its employees, and we both quit. The difference is that I quickly found a new job, while it took him longer. During that time, we relied on my income and our savings. Once he found a new job, he realized he didn't like it and quit after a few weeks. We had a conversation and agreed that I would continue working while he took a break from the job search, as long as he found employment at the beginning of the following year. It was nice having him at home to take care of household chores and our cats, and he got a break from the daily grind. In the meantime, I managed to secure a more permanent teaching job, providing us with a stable income. My husband tried a few more jobs but ended up leaving all of them due to issues with the people or the work environment, or because of excessive absences caused by his anxiety and depression. Eventually, it had been 2 years since he held a steady job. I expressed to him that I didn't want him to work somewhere he hates, and I didn't mind him being home all the time, considering my teaching job barely covers our expenses. However, if we ever want to have children, move out of our current 1-bedroom apartment, own a second car, or even enjoy eating out occasionally, we need a second income. Otherwise, we'll be stuck living paycheck to paycheck. He agreed that it was necessary for him to start working again. He started a new job in January and initially seemed optimistic about it. He mentioned that the people were decent, the pay was reasonable, and he had the protection of a union. On a couple of snow days when I had time off from work, he decided to call in sick due to the weather, even though he could have easily commuted. After that, both of us fell ill because of my job, and he called in sick multiple times in a row. He assured me that he had 10 absences allowed, and as long as he didn't exceed that limit, there would be no issues. I don't blame him for taking sick days, but there were definitely days when he could have toughed it out and gone to work. By the end of the month, he was let go due to accumulating 8 absences. At this point, I am unsure of what to do or how to handle the situation. This is the 4th job he has lost in the past 2 years. Every time it happens, he feels terrible and berates himself for messing up. He promises to do better. I don't want to criticize him further when he already feels awful, but I am stressed about our finances and tired of going through this recurring pattern. I told him that it feels like he is taking advantage of my patience and understanding. He responded by saying that he feels the same way, but doesn't know how to improve the situation. I made him contact his doctor to get a referral to a therapist, and he also has a potential opportunity for a work-from-home job. However, when should I decide that enough is enough? I love him deeply and cannot imagine my life without him. But we are not making progress towards our financial goals, and I am exhausted from going through this cycle repeatedly. It sounds like you've been incredibly patient and supportive of your husband, but it's also understandable that you're feeling stressed and tired of the situation. It's great that he's seeking therapy and has a potential work-from-home job led, so maybe give it some more time to see if things improve before deciding on your next step. I want to break up with my BF even though there's nothing really wrong with our relationship. My boyfriend and I have been dating for almost 2 years. Overall, we have a very loving, healthy relationship. He is genuine and kind, I love his family and get along well with everyone. He makes my inner child feel safe. The problem is, I don't think we're as compatible as I'd like to admit. I feel like the relationship lacks stimulating conversation, and more often than not, I have to explain what I mean by something in detail, or he doesn't really understand what I'm saying. Then it kind of turns into therapy talk, which I hate. The emotional labor of it all has been a bit frustrating for me. I also don't find the relationship challenging enough. I encouraged him to move out from his parents' house, view his relationship with his family and friends in a different light, start therapy, be able to communicate his thoughts and feelings better, and overall, I think it was uncomfortable but very rewarding for him, and he keeps mentioning how grateful he is for that. On the other hand, I don't feel like I've changed much or learned anything new about myself. Even when there's something he is upset or angry about, he doesn't talk about it, keeps it in till it hits me in a passive-aggressive way with a backhanded comment, and I have to ask him what's going on and start the conversation. He avoids conflict, which can be super exhausting. Most of the time it feels like I'm carrying the weight of both of us. He has people-pleasing tendencies, and he always agrees with whatever I say on any topic. I sometimes wish we would have different opinions just so we could have an interesting discussion. Lol, we were planning to take the next big step in the relationship, which would be moving to a new country together and starting a life there. In hindsight, I don't think he would even move to another country if it wasn't for me, which makes me worry. I want his personal opinion on things, and for him to take some initiative as well and plan things, but he just expects me to tell him what to do all the time. He says he feels sad when I'm not with him, like everything is mundane, and he's stuck in a loop, which makes me think he might be dependent on me. We did have all the discussions about all of this. He keeps saying he understands, says all the right words, and that he will make sure to improve wherever he lacks, and that he loves me. I don't know if there's anything to be fixed though. I think we are just different people on a bigger perspective. But I love him so much, and this was the first ever relationship where I felt genuinely loved for who I am and could unapologetically be myself in. I know if I end things, both of us will be incredibly heartbroken, and there will be a part of me wondering if I did the right thing. I'm always conflicting with myself on the inside because there's a part of me saying, maybe you want everything to be perfect, or you're having relationship OCD. There's no one perfect and you have something great. Don't ruin it. I'm scared to lose the love of my life, but I'm also scared to drag something along that won't last. It sounds like you have a really loving and supportive relationship, but you're experiencing some doubts about compatibility and communication issues. It's important to trust your instincts and consider what will make you truly happy in the long run. Breaking up is never easy, but it might be worth exploring whether your needs and desires align in order to find the best path forward. Found out who my BF used to be and I don't like it. My boyfriend and I have been together for 2 years. Yesterday we had a heated argument because he mentioned that he had gone out for coffee with someone he had a sexual relationship with in the past, while we were already in a committed relationship, without informing me. His words left me confused, betrayed, and deeply upset. I have previously experienced cheating in relationships, so I am sensitive to hiding or lying. During our conversation, he revealed that after his first, and only real, relationship, he engaged in casual sexual encounters with 9 different women. He admitted that he acted poorly during that time. However, he also claimed that there was no reason for me to be jealous of those women, as he found them unattractive, and they meant nothing to him, despite having had sex. I was caught off guard by his revelation and couldn't understand how he could have been intimate with women he considered ugly. It also puzzled me that he still referred to one of them as a friend. Given my past experiences of being used for sex in a previous relationship, his actions hurt me. I couldn't believe what he was saying about these women. How could he engage in sexual activities with women he found unattractive, and why? He went on to explain that nothing happened between him and his friend, and he believed that if he had told me, I might have been uncomfortable with him spending time with her due to my history of being cheated on and my supposed jealousy, which I am not experiencing. Thus, he never disclosed their interactions. Furthermore, he didn't even inform her that he was in a relationship. He argued that he didn't have any obligation to tell me because we weren't officially boyfriend and girlfriend, despite the fact that he had introduced me to his family as his girlfriend 2 months prior. He also confessed that he used to drink excessively, party all the time, and had anger issues from the age of 23 to 29. Throughout our relationship, he hasn't shared much about himself and his experiences in his 20s. Now, I feel like I am in a relationship with a stranger. I am unsure about what to do or how to process this information. He claims not to be proud of his past, but simultaneously defends himself and takes no responsibility for his actions. I have no judgment against people who choose to party and have casual sex, as long as it doesn't hurt anyone. However, it is not a lifestyle I desire in a partner. I am someone who values loyalty, transparency, and honesty at all times, and he knows this. Moreover, I strongly oppose hurting others, especially emotionally, or using them. The fact that he kept his past a secret from me for so long infuriates me. Although he acknowledges that he behaved poorly in the past, he continues to defend his actions without taking full responsibility. I now feel like I don't even know who I am in a relationship with. If I had known about all of this earlier, I'm not sure I would have chosen to be with him. It feels like the decision to be with the person he truly is and has been taken away from me, and it only makes everything more difficult to bear. Wow, that's a tough situation to be in. It's understandable that you feel hurt and betrayed by your boyfriend's past actions, especially considering your past experiences with cheating. It's important for both of you to have open and honest communication about your feelings and expectations moving forward in order to rebuild trust and determine if you can move past this. Am I the antagonist for thinking my husband's pension will be what we live off in retirement? My husband and I have been together for almost 25 years. Our finances only became stable in the last 10 years when he got his current job. Before that, we struggled a lot financially, and there were times when my income was the main one. I work part-time and my jobs have always paid much less. My pension is not great, but my husband's is substantial. We have never had a 50-50 household. It has always been whoever has more pays more. We discuss how we split the bills, holidays, and Christmas based on our income. It's important to note that my husband was unemployed when we got together, and it was never an issue for me. I didn't expect any financial gain from him. We have grown together, and our financial situation has changed. Recently, this has brought up significant resentment towards me and our future planning. When we retire, I want to move to a place with better weather and where our money can go further. I also want my husband to be able to retire early and enjoy himself. However, this, along with the fact that my pension is much smaller than his, seems to have made him resentful. He seems to think that I assumed we would mainly be living off his pension. But it's not about me relying solely on his money. It's about me hoping that we won't struggle in retirement because his pension is good, even if mine only covers occasional treats like a nice meal out. I simply assumed that whoever has more would contribute more, and right now, that is him. I am truly hurt by this resentment, but he won't express it openly. He pays for most of the bills, including the mortgage, but acts as if he pays for everything. He doesn't acknowledge what I contribute or communicate with me when he can't afford things. He simply expects me to understand. This led him to accumulate a significant amount of debt, which I ended up paying off once I found out about it. I told him he needs to be more transparent so that I can contribute more or, if necessary, we can decide together that we can't afford certain things. Additionally, I will soon come into some money that could greatly contribute to our future property for retirement. My goal is to have a mortgage-free life as much as possible. So I don't understand why he feels like I'm taking advantage of him. So am I the asshole for assuming that my husband's pension will be our main source of income in retirement? It seems like you and your husband have had a long-standing agreement about finances, and it's perfectly reasonable for you to assume that his substantial pension would contribute to your retirement. It's important for him to communicate his feelings and concerns instead of harboring resentment. Am I the antagonist for yelling at my boyfriend and causing him to have a panic attack? So my boyfriend Colt and I have been together for almost 2 years now. He's normally a really sweet and caring guy, except around his family. He gets really quiet or more bro-y with them. I love him a lot, but his family doesn't really. Like, he's never been exactly in the closet, and he's dated boys since middle school, so they're not exactly homophobic. They are really big on traditional gender norms. So naturally, Colt is very traditionally masculine and grew up playing like 3 different sports and hunting. I, on the other hand, was a gender non-conforming theater kid who paints his nails and doesn't mind heels and a skirt when the mood strikes me. I'm the first guy Colt has dated that wasn't masculine, and also a sports player. I could tell his family didn't like me. His 2 older brothers are okay, if not kinda awkward, but his younger brothers are all weird with me and ignore me unless forced to talk to me. His parents are the worst, as they openly dislike me, especially his dad. Colt assures me I'll grow on them, but yeah. He's really close to his family though, so we see them a lot. I put up with it because Colt moved pretty far from home for college, like a few states over, while my family lives in the same town as school. Last weekend, we went to his hometown for his birthday. His family and friends threw him a birthday party and all that. Of course, while we were there, his younger brothers and his parents kept asking about his ex Carlos and why they stopped talking or on about how much they really liked him when I wasn't in the room but in earshot. Then guess who shows up? None other than Carlos, invited by Colt's parents. And you could tell how much they loved him with the way they hugged him, and he was laughing and talking with Colt's younger brothers. Colt was just silent, and I just went upstairs and holed up in his room. He came upstairs looking for me after the party was over and asked why I stayed upstairs. I got pissed and yelled at him that he knew exactly why. He tried to apologize, but I wasn't having it, and I screamed at him that I wasn't taking this anymore, and I didn't want to see his family anymore until he stood up to them. I didn't realize at first, but it looked like he started panicking. He starts telling me I don't understand, and I can't ask him to pick a fight with his family. I yell louder that it's not fair I have to be treated like crap by his. He starts clutching his chest, crying, and goes into a full panic attack. His oldest brother comes up and gets him to calm down. He just glared at me and said to never yell at Colt like that again. Colt was kinda weird after that. We didn't talk much after. Before we left, his second older brother caught me alone and told me the truth. That Carlos was less than friendly with Colt, and a lot of stuff was blamed on whatever sport Colt was playing at the time. That his younger brothers don't know, and their parents sorta know, but it's boys will be boys with them. It's understandable that you're frustrated with how Colt's family treats you, especially after they invited his ex-boyfriend to his birthday party. It's important for Colt to stand up for you and address the issue with his family, but it seems like there might be deeper issues at play that he's not ready to confront. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.